Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our regular council meeting on March 16th, 2021. Looks like it's going to rain, just so everybody knows. Keep that for the record. But if we have a amendment to the agenda, which will be number 10 under new and unfinished, will be Kidney Month and April 7th, Green Shirt Day. That's it.
March 11th.
And March 11th, World Kidney Day. So if I could have a motion to adopt the agenda as amended.
Make a motion.
So move.
All in favor? Carried. Thank you. So I need a motion to adopt the minutes from the Committee of the Whole meeting of March 2nd, 2021.
I'll make a motion to adopt the minutes from the committee of the whole meeting.
Thank you, Councillor Slager.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Councillor Slager. All in favor? Carried. Okay, next to pay the open payables in the amount of $147,022.93.
I'll make a
I
motion
just
to,
figure why don't we have the questions first and make the motion first?
you have the questions after,
It could be the other way around.
you'd think.
But
I'll make a motion to pay the open payables in the amount of $147,022.93.
I'll second that.
all in favor?
Aye.
Carried.
So my question is, because you're all in favor and say there's something in there that you sternly didn't like, when did you have the opportunity to say, no, I'm not doing that? That's why I think we're doing it back then.
Well, I guess we could have questions before
Second motion.
before it's carried.
But when you have, anyway,
Yeah, so we have questions before it's carried. So my apologies. You should add questions. Do you have a question?
I do.
Okay, what is it? Thomas is.
Okay. Okay, so there's a bunch of Edward Jones Wealth Management. I'm assuming that's like RRSP matching from staff, correct?
Correct.
Okay, the only reason I ask is because if there was an easy way to funnel money out of the town, this would be it. To just disguise it as one of these. No, just like this. Not with this there, I know. But CIBC,
CIBC for 17,847.
yeah,
That is purchases on Visa, and the big purchase on there is the bucket for the new loader, which was 14,000 and change.
gotcha. And there's one more. Tucker Carruthers, that's our lawyer, I'm assuming that
Yes, that
a
is.
legal issue?
Yes,
Should council be aware of that legal issue or question?
council is very aware of that one.
Okay,
Hotel levy.
yeah, okay. That's it, for me.
Yeah, the workers' comp, is that like the once yearly thing you do before the year starts? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I'm just curious about that.
Yeah, the dollar amount for workman's comp is very high.
Yeah, but you get well, sometimes you get a bit of a refund at the end or something, but
Yeah, it depends on the year, but that includes all their firefighters as well.
Yeah.
Oh, and I must apologize. Oh, wait, was that the 331 you were talking about? Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, any other questions? Comments?
No.
Okay, thank you. We'll move on to the bylaws. Third and final reading of bylaw 2103, the 2021 tax rate bylaw at 0%.
Make a motion to accept bylaw 2123, or 21-03, right?
I'll second that.
Thank you. All in favor?
We talked about
Questions, sorry. Comments?
I know that we said that, or that you informed us that there was very few properties that would be affected by a raise in rates on vacant properties, but I still think we should raise them.
So is it vacant?
Sorry, vacant
residential?
residential properties.
And currently it's $600.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay, your worship, yes, we did a survey of all vacant properties, residential. Of the vacant residential properties, there was 34 in total. Off of that, there are 16 that are currently under development or tax lien processes. So that dropped us to 18, and then out of that 18, it dropped us another, I believe, 8 that are properties that are joined to current properties. So of those, there might be a garage on them, but they still show as a low assessment value, or a fenced lot with a shed on it. And so that dropped us to roughly only 10 vacant residential properties in town. So that's, the number isn't as big as what people think is out there when you're talking 10. And I did a survey of the other communities. We had the same discussion with the CAOs in our conference call, not last Friday, the Friday before. And the other communities range from $200 up to $800 for vacant residential properties. So I think we're the second highest at 600.
I mean, for me, at least, it's not necessarily about how much money we would be taking in, but just to continue the trend of making it uncomfortable to own empty lots in our community. I'm happy to know there's only 10 that are ready for houses, but 10 is significant in a community our size.
It'd be 9 of us.
That is amazing to hear.
Do you have any suggestions, what you would like to raise that to, or if you're happy with that amount for now, or what do you think?
I think we should at least be continuing an upward trend. So I think did we raise it $50 last year or 25? Like it has
We
only,
went from 550 to 600.
so that is only the second tax raise in like 5 years, right?
For
It was at 500 when Richard DeRozier was last mayor. I know, just because I chatted with him about it.
Mhm.
That's the only reason I recall that. So I personally would love to see it go up at least $25. Not love, would like to see.
Well, if you'd like to make a motion, we can.
All right,
From there.
I would like to make a motion to amend the residential vacant lot rate from $600 to $625
Within bylaw 2103.
within bylaw 2103.
Okay.
Given the fact that I voted for a 0% raise in property tax, I'm also against this as well. That's what.
Okay, so we have a motion on the table. Do we have a second? So unfortunately, that motion will be denied, and the motion for the 0% mill rate increase will go to a vote. So voting for the motion on the table, which is 0% mill rate increase,
I'll make that motion.
it's already been seconded, right?
Yep.
So I need all in favor. All opposed. Thank you. The motion's carried. Thank you, Aaron, for your consideration on those.
You're welcome.
All right, so moving on, the next will be the CAO report, please.
All right, so last week, our annual audit was done. And I'm very pleased to report that they found no errors in our audit. It's the first time ever. And they did discover something that we need to book a little differently, and that's our special leave for the staff. We need to book it as a liability, but it's something that they've just decided that we need to do now. The audit was a little more in depth because of the fact that we had Mayor O'Brien resigned, and because of her court matters, that opened up anything to do with the town as well, not in court, but in the eyes of the auditors under the PSAB rules. So they had to dig through a little more detail to make sure, and there was, as we all knew, there was no issues. Mayor O'Brien didn't have any hands into the money, didn't have signing authority and stuff, so, but it was just nice to confirm that they had been through and actually checked it to verify that there was no issues. They hope to have the draft financial report to us maybe by the end of this week or the next week. And the way things are looking now, they're estimating about a 600,000 surplus for 2020. Which is a healthy change from where we were.
Sorry, what was that number again?
About 600,000. So that's that. I spoke about the other thing that I wanted to bring to council's attention to is there is a lot of vacant lots, but some of them are either commercial highway and they're sort of in those blended zones or industrial where people are residing. So those vacant lots do fall under the different tax mill rate in the bylaw that you guys just passed. But that's where a lot of people in town get confused. And I know Ruth Wilkinson had brought it forward in Gallery Open Forum about her taxes having gone up, and she knows quite a difference. Well, that's because it's vacant commercial, and that's where you guys have it set. And I think in the mill rate that you just passed it 3.884 percentum. So that's why those ones have gone up, because you guys had deemed in the past that you wanted to leverage those taxes to get those commercial properties or industrial properties opened up on the market. Okay.
So there's not a squatter's fee or anything?
Not yet.
Oh.
And Lands Branch is actually working on trying to get some more of those lots that they had under build agreements pulled back and put back on the market. So they're working on those as well.
In that situation, Cam.
Yep.
When they pull it, say they put the foundation in, let's just say. And they came back and said, well, your time's up, you were supposed to have this done by now. Would they offer an extension, or would they say, too bad, so sad, the person who buys this next will have they got a foundation now?
Well, it depends on the situation. If it was, let's say if it was me building on a property and I ran out of time and on towards my build, then the onus is on you to go ask for an extension. But I would pretty well guarantee that if they came and sent you a letter saying, you need to get a hold of us to make this right, they would give you an extension. But the ones they have given extensions on, they've sent me correspondence asking for approval of the municipality. So those ones have been sort of one-offs, right? Because it's not a blanket thing. There was some of those ones on Francis Avenue. Some of the people have come forward and said there's been delays due to layoffs due to COVID. Some of their contractors couldn't get their contractor had health issues. So they got a new contractor for next year. So those ones we approved, right? But there's some that haven't even responded to Lands Branch. So Lands Branch now are going through the legal channels to actually take the properties back. And they're chasing a couple up in the industrial area as well.
Okay.
So, and those ones, there was improvements done on. Same as one of the lots in Bellevue, or two of the lots in Bellevue that came back. They had driveways put in and stuff. So that's money that's lost to the person that did the development because they didn't fulfill the agreement.
Okay.
Okay. We're proceeding ahead. We got an initial estimate and report for the roof on the rec center, and we bounced it back. The original report that was done in 2019 estimated the whole retrofit on the rec center at around 8 million. And then the next report we had done under the energy audit showed the roof section alone at about 3.7 million. The last audit, there's the last estimate for the roof alone came in at 10 million.
Didn't we build the thing entirely for 6.5 back in the day?
Might have been, but the new quote for that same building right now is upwards of 50 million.
So you said that was just for the roof, that
That
you just got the thing that you just sent out?
Yes, and we bounced it. I wasn't happy, and the infrastructure branch was not happy with the quality of the report. And so they're supposed to be scheduling a conference call with us because it's like they just put a dartboard up and put dollars and they just threw a dart at it because it makes no sense. How can the roof in a year go from being more than the whole project was? And that was including backup generator, backup boilers, you know, the whole building envelope and insulation package. It does not make sense. So we're chasing that still. So, but they are working on it. Unfortunately, now that the writ has been dropped for the election, it's sort of holding up approvals on stuff again. So hopefully within 6 weeks, we definitely know in 6 weeks, there will be somebody in charge again in government and we'll get things rolling again. Timing is really poor when you're trying to get stuff out to tender.
For the building season.
Building season, yeah, definitely, it's really impacting everybody right now. Anybody that's got to go through YG. So, what else was I gonna say? I had something in my mind. Anyways, probably there'll be questions in open forum that will come back that I'll answer. The building stuff is still proceeding, so and they feel that they're about still 3 weeks ahead over at the new building.
So how does that affect, okay, I'm jumping ahead, I'll leave it here, but okay. So I think about things like the water treatment plant, and how much that was worth, or the reservoir upgrade, or the lagoon upgrade, or water pipe upgrades. And I think about our capital asset replacement policy, which we're gonna be talking about later. And it was brought up before, and the way that they want to do the accounting of the town and like have certain things where you write up a certain portion for your, asset replacement. But the bottom line remains is that the municipality doesn't have the funds, like to do our accounting the way they want it done, with having everything, what's what I'm looking for, to do the depreciation properly, and to set so much aside for this, and set so much aside for this. And just with all the different assets, and like one water treatment plant blows that entirely out of water, one rec center, gone. Like you have to say, like you say, like to replace the rec center would be a $50 million thing. So if we're looking at our building in policies there, it says that each building is good for 40 years. Like we can't save $50 million in 40 years. Like there's no way, even for that one item out of that list. So it begs the question, like, how are we supposed to comply with this fanciful accounting? Because it's just not doable.
Well, the way that, when we did our asset management plan, I think if you guys remember when we did that, our integrated asset management plan, it stated we have to put $1 million aside every year for any of these big projects that are coming up. And and the only way we can do that is user fees and taxes. And everything's going up, and unfortunately, by having a 0% tax increase, it just puts us behind that much more going into next year towards. Well, it is,
It's true.
it's a $600,000 surplus this year.
To be fair, it'd take more than 50 years to raise it if
Well,
we're just doing 1%.
It would, but that's the only place, the avenue that municipality has to raise that money to offset that thing, or it comes down the road when it comes time to replace that. We're not replacing the rec center with what we have now.
No.
You might get an outdoor skating rink. Right? So those are things that it's really hard to play, and as long as the federal government is still handing money out, for these types of builds.
Or allowing us to use gas tax or.
Gas tax, but gas tax, can only go so far when you get to like $7 million, might sound like a big number, but when we start replacing infrastructure, it doesn't go anywhere, right?
No.
So,
I get it.
But that's the thing, we're so restricted because of the size of our municipality. That, and we're actually fortunate because we are bigger than the other communities in the Yukon, where places like CarMax or, you know, the Teslans of the world, where they have if they have a big facility like ours, CarMax is building a new big fancy
Arena.
indoor arena with artificial ice. How does a community of 300 pay for that? Right?
I was thinking nationally too. I mean, being in the Yukon is advantageous because, I mean, there's a lot of small towns in BC that probably don't even get recognized or don't find the funds or
They just don't have
they don't have them. So,
Yeah, we're subsidized by the federal government. Other people's tax dollars are buying that for us.
yes,
Yeah, so unfortunately, that, like I said, the only way we can raise money to pay for our asset management or replacements, or if anything goes sideways, is by taxes and user fees. And unfortunately, with a small user base, it puts the impact on everybody. I just thought of the other thing that I was gonna mention was the landfill. As part of the AYC, we are doing the audit of all the landfills for the regional agreements. They actually they used us as the sort of the shining star again. But on this estimate, on the one Morrison Hirschfield did for us, they figured we had around 100 years life of the landfill. This one came back, said we have 126 years. So really, it's really pennies when you're talking that life expectancy. But the dollar amounts, which was nice to see, was the estimates for the closure amounts are still about the same. One was, they're all in that $3 million range. But this report recommended that we do partial closures in quarterly, so in 32 years, we start doing a closure to try and keep the costs down instead of having a big astronomical cost for a full closure in 126 years. But I guarantee in 126 years, the whole technology and everything will be different. But it's nice to know that we don't need to expand our footprint into landfill, that we're good where we are.
yes,
It's just a matter of getting better practices in place.
yeah, which is gonna come,
Yeah.
which is coming.
That was it.
Awesome. Thanks, Cam. We'll carry on.
Sorry.
Oh, that's good. Good question, Thomas. Thank you. The next is asset management policy. So we need to accept this new policy. I don't know if Cam, you want to speak about any of the changes because we've had one. It's just a few.
So we haven't had the asset management policy. We've had the tangible capital asset policy has been in place.
Okay.
It was a requirement with PSAB going back to 2009. So the town did have one, but it was updated, and to go hand in hand with it is the asset management policy, which gives my staff direction on how we book and control our assets, and which will feed into our integrated asset management plan and our asset management software where Shannon is updating and tracking all our infrastructure, so we can actually put the dollars to cents, so we actually know what we need to be planning for each year, and that'll feed into future budgets going forward.
And any funding pots that we want to go after. Build.
Is there a threshold for, for the disposal of assets? Whether it's just like broken or needs to be repaired versus like we ran it over the grader, whoops. Or, you know what I mean, like.
So any of that stuff, doesn't matter what the shape's in, we will, you know, if it is destroyed by fire or something, then we work with the accountants to get it wrote off the books, but, or in our insurance company. But if it doesn't matter if it's run right into the ground, like the garbage dump truck, literally, it'll still go out for auction and it'll depreciate down to that value where it's worth zero, and then we'll still auction it and hopefully recover something.
So we just need to accept the asset management policy.
One more question.
Oh, sorry, Thomas.
The write downs, and I know that this is like, hey, I backed into this, sorry, this this is how, this is why this needs to be prepared. I guess the thing that makes me uncomfortable or worried about this is like write-downs. Can we use these to justify employee evaluations? Like, will that be tied into it? Be like, well, we've had about this many breakdowns and this many training.
Well, I guess I'm a little lost on what you're getting at. So are you talking about if we have staff that's damaging equipment or damaging building? Yes, that goes into their performance evaluation every year.
Okay,
So and if it's a long history, then we must work to, is it a training issue? Is it just neglect? Or if it's just irresponsibility? So we have to go through each one of those things. And if it is a performance issue, like maybe it's a training issue, so we have to actually give them the proper training. Because if we're setting them out there to operate a hoe and they've only been trained to run a lawnmower, right? So we can't set people up for failure. And, so we have to go through all those steps, but it is documented in their evaluations every year. And if it becomes an issue, then we start with first time as a verbal, and then it's written, and then it's a performance plan. And if they can't comply at the end of that, then we can go for dismissal.
got it. Great. That's all.
What effect does this policy have will it have on the budget? Or will change all the time, I guess?
And we have to we need the policy so we can actually book everything the way it should be. So that way it gives us guidance on bringing stuff forward for you guys for budget. It's a guiding document.
So just a bit of the language I find to be a little bit ambiguous. Like it's saying it's going to maintain assets or ensure services, but it doesn't say how it's going to do any of those things. I'm concerned that the consultation part of this is also super ambiguous. And I just want to reiterate that I think that we should either have a consultation policy for our community to make sure that assets that we are maintaining are being done in a way that benefits our community and it's what they want. But also, just on a side note, is there a reason that this is coming at a regular meeting instead of a committee of the whole? Like, shouldn't we have seen this first at the committee of the whole with the original documents so that we could
They
discuss
come
it?
forward at a committee of the whole in 2019.
Oh,
And then
okay,
then you guys took it off the agenda, like.
Yes,
stood it
okay.
down, So that it's come back. now.
absolutely. Then can I please request that in our packages that information be put in as well with maybe just a note? Because unless there's something that says we looked at this on this day, like a year later, it's pretty tough, so.
Yep, so noted.
So we're accepting this as is, or can we amend it? Like, can we send it back with some notes? Like, I'm not sure what we're looking for right now.
Presented to you for discussion and
Okay.
whatever you feel needs to happen.
Well, I feel like that the points in here are absolutely nail on the head. I'm just wondering how we are going to accomplish them. Like, what exactly are we doing to ensure the services? What are we doing to foster an environment where all employees are an integral part of overall management?
This is the guiding document for me
Mhm.
to actually go back and set up
Okay,
practices.
okay.
I think once the policy is there, did we borrow this from another municipality or is this something we created?
No, it's borrowed, definitely.
I have no problem passing this policy today to give you guidance and create the framework for it. However, I do feel that some of the things in the capital replacement plan are a little, I'd like to have a new truck every 7 years too, but I don't. I have a 16-year-old minivan I still drive. And a 1989 wood truck. If it's still
Those
useful.
are two separate motions, are they not?
Yes, that's the deal.
Yeah.
The tangible.
Tangible and the asset management
I'll
policy.
make a motion to accept this asset management policy 2021.
Thank you,
I'll
Councillor.
second it.
Thank you, Councillor Slager. Any more questions?
Yeah, just so the fire hall, once it's completed, then it
It becomes,
becomes part of this.
yes,
Now, like when this building was refabbed or whatever, then its value increased and that shows up in here or?
based on assessment, yes, and we deal with the accountants or the auditors to find out how that changes the depreciated value of the building.
Yeah, okay.
I'd like to make a motion just to add, maybe number or letter H under 3.1, just about consultation, just saying that we will also consult our community. I thought I saw something in here earlier about it, but I can't seem to find it now. So if there isn't anything about consultation, I would like to see that added. Because I think should be one of the most important ways that we figure out what we're doing.
So,
I disagree. I feel that, the people who vote for
Rather
the
word it
cities
here.
to act as their, whatever,
well, there's two motions and
Yeah.
so
Oh, sorry, my motion was just to amend.
Yeah.
Is that not?
is there a second to a motion, the amendment?
I'll second that.
Okay. So there's a motion to to change or add, sorry, letter H,
There is an H already.
Or sorry, I,
HI, sorry,
under 4.2.
to include some language around community consultation within our asset.
Please.
Or do you want to table this until next meeting until you can see it?
Let's table this.
That's
And we can have those amendments presented and then we can move forward.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Okay.
Do we need a
to
motion?
change the whole of the next council.
It's
So it's gotta be the next council, because we can't make decisions that can be a whole meeting. That's for sure.
We can. So just a motion can I please have a motion to table the asset management policy?
I'll make that motion
Thank you.
And your worship, we also need a date for that tabling.
until, sorry, what is the date of our next meeting? The first,
April, yeah.
motion to table this until the 1st of April at our next committee of the whole meeting.
Thank you, Councillor Bonte. Second,
I'll second that.
I would ask for any more questions, but all in favor? Carried. You know that, Terry? All
Way
over,
around.
all over the place. That's my fault.
It's okay, there was a motion and then that motion.
Second motion, and then there's third motion, and then I think we got it figured out. Thank you. Okay. We're gonna move on to the Town of Watson Lake tangible capital asset policy. Motion to accept. Do you like what you see? Questions, comments?
Your worship, this is just an amendment to the existing policy.
Okay.
It's in effect.
Yep.
From 2010, I believe was the policy. And the only thing changed in it, for the record, is the depreciated, we set the thresholds are more laid out in this policy. And the other thing is the appendix, which is the useful life, which is just the appendix that is more defined than the existing one we have.
Thank you.
Make a motion to accept it.
Thank you, Councillor Slager.
I'll second.
Thank you, Councillor Labonte. Any questions? All in favor? Carried.
Terry,
Yes.
I thought we needed the appeal of the existing bylaw to the ground policy, don't we?
The one you're referring to?
Oh, is it on the bottom there? So
Sorry.
it says on there? Okay,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. I'll make
Sorry,
sure.
Worship.
Okay. Moving on, Watson Lake admin building concept, landscape and design.
Make a motion to open this.
Second.
All in favor? Carried. Go ahead.
Pine trees right beside the buildings, the roots growing to the concrete side.
And it's not fire smart at all. But we have a metal building, so maybe that's different. I don't know what the side of our building's made out of, but through Fire Smart, it recommends, I think, a minimum of the height of the tree away from the building.
$157,000, we're talking about grass. Now you got a mullet versus rock.
It seemed a little high for me too. I feel like, I don't know the cost for.
We paying for that?
Hmm,
At the moment, we're working with YG on it, and that was just a concept estimate. So we still have lots of conversations with infrastructure branch and
How do
design.
they enjoy the trailhead portion of it though?
Well, that was a
That's
request
awesome.
that you guys had
Yeah.
brought forward, so.
My only concern is that it's gravel, and I know I've said this before, but we have a really hard time keeping up with it at Wye Lake. But also, it's really hard to keep clean. It really collects garbage easily, and you can see that little triangle out in front of the building is filled with garbage in the summertime. So that's a concern for me. And also, I know that like, it's kind of okay, that little triangle at the beginning of the building. Maybe that's why it's not on the list, but it's pretty sad looking, so. And around the side of in between the whole building and our building. I was sad to see that wasn't, nothing was
Well, the property line is very,
totally, but even just like, whatever. It's not very nice right now.
yeah. Any other comments? Concerns?
I really, like, they take on the tree too close to the building, because everything's.
I agree with that comment. I mean, about the pine trees.
The roots, fire smart industry, but the roots will eventually grow into the foundation. Mind you, it'll take 40 years for that to happen, so but then we'll get a new one.
Then we'll slide into the lake. But I mean, maybe further, like along the property line would be nice to have a couple smaller trees or something, but
Divide the property lines.
yeah, definitely, because it is a little sad looking back there. And my only other comment is it doesn't mention anything about drainage other than that it's going to be draining into the storm easement. I don't know. It's basically funneling highway poison right into the lake, and there's so much out there about how important it is to let that water soak into the ground rather than just funneling it directly to water sources, especially considering we're doing our water source protection plan. So,
Sounds like added cost, but
I mean, it doesn't have to be. But
What about grass? Like, is there a reason why grass?
there was lots of concern about aesthetics too, right? Like we want our main building to look nice and presented well, so, and this is obviously a concept, so maybe grass is the answer, I don't know. I like the idea, I like this concept, I think it looks good, I feel like it's expensive, I do agree with trees, and I really appreciate the trailhead
yeah, I think it looks.
in mind here. That's always been needed. I've said over and over that my least favorite part of the Wye Lake Trail is right behind the municipal building. So
It is crappy.
So I like some of it. I think that it can be,
It's a good start.
I think it can be better. Yeah. And I don't like the cost.
I will sell it for cheaper rock.
Yeah,
There you go.
well,
Oh,
I mean, the crush is probably actually pretty expensive.
Yeah.
And it seems to be like an ongoing solution for YTG when there's like low maintenance buildings, but I don't think it ends up looking very nice like the next year.
Is it like a drainage thing, though?
I mean, it definitely helps with drainage, but it would be more like, again, directing it down the hill, like it would create like water running as opposed to sinking. But anyways, like go have a look at the gravel. I'm sure you've seen it around the hospital in the summer. It looks disgusting.
So what do we like about this? We like the trailhead idea.
Mhm.
We-
The trees are pretty.
The trees are nice.
The
There's,
sky poplars.
Poplars.
and there's some,
There's no shed these, do they?
Well, leaves are pretty. They
Just
do.
saying.
But Also, the juniper is really nice. It's,
Yeah.
you know, indigenous here.
I love it. I just agree with the comment on the pine trees.
Okay. So feedback for you, Kim? Okay, John, did you have anything to add?
Yeah, well, I mean, I've heard people say that the building looks like a prison,
Yeah.
but I think, you know,
Fortress.
Yeah.
no, I think, I don't know, I'm pretty impressed by it. Now, the question I would have is, and later, or the next thing we get into, the cost breakdown. Now, is that gonna, I mean, it's an estimate done by, or Lee and Associates.
Mhm.
I mean, there's still a chance of a cost overrun, once it goes out to tender, right?
Or it could be lower as well.
Or it could be lower, yeah, well, that's what we gotta hope, yeah. But will it be broke up into several tenders, or will it be awarded as one overall tender? Or-
I guess it comes down to if YG's paying for it or we're paying for it.
Oh,
So if YG's gonna do it, then I'm not sure how to put it out. I know landscaping is really hard to get landscapers to do stuff in the territory. There's so few of them. That helps drive the price up, but I'm not sure. We're still working through it. We wanted to present you with the original concept to see if they're in the right direction and give you guys something to go with.
well, I certainly agree with the question of the trees around the back, whether they would interfere with the foundation once they got to a certain height. Now, my understanding is there's something you can put in between to prevent that from happening, but I'm not sure what it is.
Okay, well, that's lots of feedback, I think.
Or just plant it further away.
Yeah, I think it would be good for them. Like, I mean, there's lots of literature out there about fire smart landscaping designs and stuff too. And considering it's the #1 threat to our community, I think it's something that they should be keeping in mind when they're putting trees right next to our building and stuff like that.
I would like,
Yeah, and the other question would be, well, with the shrubs and stuff and that pathway through there, if you're gonna try and keep that cleared in the winter time, you know, the snow removal, what are you gonna do with it? Because you can't pile it on top of the shrubs, it'll kill them.
Good point. Maybe we could save some money by digging all the shrubs out of Y Lake and putting them out here, and putting flowers back in. Some perennials.
see where the funding comes. Yeah.
They're ugly.
Any other comments, questions?
Not for me.
It might have to be tweaked a bit.
Yep. Valiant effort. Thanks, Cam. Thanks for that. Thanks, everybody. All right, moving along. Watson Lake School Council street lights.
Imagine like second when I saw this on the I'll open it up and be.
So what do you think?
I mean, obviously, if they feel it's a concern, I don't think that they're just, making that up. So I mean, that's a safety issue, and given that our children is in a school zone, that's probably something that should be looked at. But will we have luck? Hard to say.
Yeah, I think it's
Hard to say.
It would be
I feel like
a,
getting more lights where we already have lights versus getting lights where we don't have lights
Yeah,
is it's kind of like which one I'm in.
well, this would be a project that the municipality would have to take on. It
And
wouldn't be YG, it would be the municipality.
and I mean, how big is the section? Because, like, is it just 2 lights that are needed? Like, I don't, and like, what would the cost breakdown on something like that be? Is it something that can be covered by, I don't know,
Well,
gas tax or, I don't know.
it would take some,
I don't know much
it would
about
take some
this.
work to really figure out how much it would cost to put those lights in. But it is pretty dark along that stretch. I drove it a couple times. There's 2 lights. There's one in front of John Hanchars, there's one in front of Jerry's, and then there's one in the corners, right?
Especially now with the daylight savings time not being a thing anymore, it's dark even longer.
And the hospital does cast a pretty good shadow along that way, and it has a lot of traffic. I understand the goal here. So, I mean, I guess it just really comes down to what we want to take on, and if we can find some people to partner with, maybe LFN wants to partner, maybe the hospital corp wants to put some big lights up
Or
over
the
there.
sponsor.
or corporate sponsor or something like that.
I mean, we could also consider that, that we don't have to put in those giant streetlights, right? Like, we could put in smaller lights, we could put in lights that are specifically for walkers along the side of the road. Like, it doesn't have to be these giant ATCO electric lights. Those are the ones they put in because they're whatever, easiest.
So we asked the hospital corp to maybe look at putting some along that
in the front.
wooden
What I,
wall thing there.
what I think we should do for now is that we will respond to school council saying that we are going to seek avenues in which we can provide some lighting along Raven Hill Drive. We don't know whether that's going to be funded by us entirely or whether we can chase some funding pots. Like corporate sponsor, I like that idea. LFN. I mean, it's our children's safety and it is.
And it is dark.
It's dark. It's an important thing. I think the hospital corp should actually, they've made a big mess there on Raven Hill. They've done nothing to fix it. So let's put some pressure on them to contribute something in that area.
Yeah.
Anything.
Yeah,
Put some lights that look out over the other way, off your railing.
well, it was, I kind of expected that they would have even spruced that up by now, or I thought it was gonna be parking or something.
Gravel
It's
pit.
literally a gravel pit, so.
So, do
Yeah, like,
you have any comments?
I spoke to ATCO today and, of course, they're willing to do it. It's just a matter that we have to work with their engineering department to come up with proposals, but, if, it doesn't matter what type of light we gotta put there, we have to run power.
for sure.
So it comes down to, you know, do we brighten it up so it is bright and safe or, you know, when the costs are, if it's based on streetlights, we get billed so much dollars a month. So those are here or there things. So, but I've been working with that, and then also there's no reason education couldn't put a streetlight along their fence along the playground as well, right?
What about, do you remember when Minister Denny's came to Watson Lake and we spoke about community design, like safety of community through design? Maybe like this is a program where, maybe that's a program where this could tie into. Because I think that there's funding and there's also already designs and they donate their time to help you design things.
It's just a matter of we need to come up with, you know, I need you guys to let administration source out what the options are.
Yeah.
And then we can worry about how we're gonna pay for it or who's gonna pay for it once we come up with a plan.
Okay.
Because it's really not that long a stretch.
No, there's lights on the other, and unfortunately, it'd probably be a moot point, but the lights are on the opposite side of the street for where the kids walk.
I just mean, I don't mean about paying for it. I just mean about like actually helping us design it. And maybe there's like free stuff out there for us. Because they're trying to push this community safety.
Cause
through
I can
design.
see where once that gets improved, then they're gonna go to Morley, Crescent and towards the Campbell Highway because that's pretty dark too. So.
So we will respond to, if we would drop something for school council that we are going to seek some options as to what we can do with the concern.
Mhm.
And thank you for bringing up the concern.
Maybe you could ask some folks on your street, Thomas, what their concerns are about lighting. If you guys recall, one of the communities literally was up in arms about new lighting on their road because of light pollution, so it might be worth,
I don't think people are against this.
no. No, not that they're against it, but they might have concerns, ideas, like what might work
I think,
well, consultation.
ask around, but I think we're on the right track with right by the hospital there, because that's the side they walk on. Just looking for another, like, education, we definitely put one on either corner of their property.
Yeah, just like whoever lives across from that street might have, or from that corner, like it's not gonna hurt to ask some of your neighbors. Okay,
All right. So we're gonna leave it in council's hand for a bit and we definitely.
Administration.
Sorry, administration's hand. Okay to move on?
Yes.
So number 10 is the Kidney Month, April 7th, Green Shirt Day, and May.
Yeah, so we received a letter from Carmen Komish, who's the president of the Whitehorse chapter of the Kidney Foundation. Whitehorse and a few of the other communities have proclaimed March as Kidney Month. And I will just, so they're asking that we proclaim March as Kidney Month, March 11th as World Kidney Day, and April 7th as Green Shirt Day in memory of Logan Boulet. In Canada, 1 in 10 individuals has a serious disease, with the number of Canadians being treated for kidney failure doubling over the last 2 decades. Most of you in this room know that this is a cause that's very kind of near and dear to my heart that I, support. And with that, I would like to make a motion that we, as mayor and council, proclaim March to be Kidney Month in Watson Lake, March 11th as World Kidney Day, and April 7th as Green Shirt Day in memory of Logan Boulet. Thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor? Carried. We'll drop a proclamation that I will do. So,
Excellent.
thanks,
you.
Lauren. Great. Any more? Oh, the RCMP February policing report. Is there any questions? We did ask that they come and try and attend a meeting at some point, so.
Yes, unfortunately, I wasn't able to connect to arrange it.
Okay. Well, they should have their new sergeant,
New sergeant should be here by or the April meeting,
so.
and so should the new recruit should be here by then. So hopefully we can get them in and have them. in
Okay.
person.
Great.
Ken, as a previous sergeant, can you help me make sense of some of these numbers?
Sure.
Because if you take the second one down, it's February 2021, so they have 12.
Yep.
And then the year to date is 7, so if there's 12 in February, how can there be 7 at the year to date?
Sorry, which one are you looking at?
Just the second line down, other persons offenses starts with one, please. How can you move from a lower number to the number in the month that
He hasn't done his math correctly. He obviously hasn't updated his year-to-date totals.
okay, and that's,
You're saying.
and then, yeah, right? Because I'm looking at it going,
Yeah.
that can't be.
Yeah.
Okay,
No, based on that, it should be 32 for year-to-date, 19, 5, 7, 7 type thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just hasn't done it. When you get down to the end, the totals just aren't there yet. I think he maybe has some of them updated, but not all of them. I'd have to look back at January's to tell you if it really makes sense.
however, I was pleasantly surprised by the amount of members and member spouses that were getting involved in the community. If you could send, good job, like recognize that, make an effort to mix and mingle.
Yeah,
So new sergeant, please allow them to continue.
Well, maybe when he comes, we'll just acknowledge what people have done and we can say, please carry on.
That makes sense.
and your worship, if I could add something, being we're on that topic. I was notified by the detachment that because of COVID and everything going on, I might have mentioned this in the past, but the awards, there is an award that the government usually gives out for impaired driving investigations. And members who get, I believe it's 6 or 8 impaired driving charges in a year are recognized by NAD and the Yukon government. But this year they've been told that they're not doing it. But so one of the members here, Nick, has gone above and beyond to investigate impaired driving in the community since he got here. And it was because one of his close friends was killed by an impaired driver. So he's been going above and beyond, and they told him that, originally told him that there would be recognition, but the government isn't doing it now. So, but he still has done it, and he would do it anyways. But I just thought it would be nice if us through the community could recognize them for doing the good work on impaired driving investigations in the community, being the Yukon government isn't doing. So I don't know if we there's ideas, we could do a plaque, we could do a certificate, there's all kinds of ways to notify. Over the years, we've actually been lots of members in the community that have been recognized for impaired driving, and it keeps our roads safer and our community safer. So it's just something that in my discussion.
I like that idea. I don't have the solution for you. I don't know what the answer is, but I like it. I think he should be recognized for exceptional work.
Good joke.
I got you. Didn't take it seriously, but
Public acknowledgement.
yeah. If we can do a public acknowledgement, I mean,
We can do up a certificate or something from the
Yeah.
town, or,
sure.
but, it's something that maybe the town could look into yearly, if it's,
Yeah. I mean, we could follow suit with the Yukon government and appreciate that work being done.
and, it's something they would recognize when they do come to a council meeting.
Or we could invite him to come.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll ask him to come too. Then we can do a public acknowledgement. Maybe we can get some info from him. Do something on, social media. That's all we have.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just wanted to bring that forward.
Yep, thank you.
Motion to adjourn.
Correspondence.
So we, Mayor and Council, received a letter from BMC Minerals asking us to provide a letter of support to YESIB for their Kutzakaya mine project. I would like to make a motion that we issue a letter of support to BMC Minerals. I believe that this will be good for our local economy and to put a lot of people to work.
Thank you, Councilor Hanchar.
I second that.
Thanks, Councilor Slager. Any questions?
How does the whole thing feel about it?
They've submitted their opinions and
The ESSA process, we're not under the umbrella final agreement, so that's not the same, so. I don't agree. Not that I'm against submitting it, but I'm not for submitting it today. I'd rather do a little research and come back to it. I don't have a lot of details on this issue, so I wouldn't feel comfortable submitting my vote until I did.
Okay. I would still ask for a vote, so I'll ask for all in favor. 3 in favor, all opposed? 1.
Just to table, not opposed, just to table.
Okay. But it is carried. So thank you, Councilor Hanchar. Okay, that's it for that. Councilor Open Forum, any more questions or comments?
I don't have any questions and not to be whatever, but the snowbanks around the intersection were
Getting high.
We're working with the Department of Highways to try and get them done as of this morning. When we met with the foreman, he is committing to Thursday doing it because it is the Department of Highways jurisdiction, and I'm not prepared to send town crews onto the highway to start moving their stuff.
Yeah, but
So,
having a creep out on the highway to.
yeah, no, it's treacherous, and I brought that to Ed this morning, and
But it's also like going down the highway and then people that are creeping out, you think they're actually gonna come on.
Yeah.
It's
No.
terrifying.
I totally understand that, but it is the Department of Highways mandate, and the foreman in a text message this morning has committed to Thursday when he has extra crews in to start dealing with it.
Okay, thank you.
I just have, would like if council will be willing to write a letter to the Minister of Health regarding the loss of staff at the hospital. There's several issues that are contributing to it. And I just think we should be really concerned, considering I think that there's like 7 out of 9 lines open at our hospital right now. So I'd like to make a motion to ask council to write a letter to the Minister of Health regarding that.
I will second that.
Okay. All in favor, any questions? Any questions? Comments, concerns with that motion? No? So all in favor? Carried.
Oh my God. And I just have one more question for Cam. I'm just wondering if we've had any movement on the, I'm not sure what you're calling it, but I'm calling it the town foreman position.
No.
Is it out, like, is it? is the
There's
position out?
nothing been done.
Okay, okay, no worries. Thank you.
Sorry, I only missed that question.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just curious about the town foreman position, if it had been posted yet. What are you officially calling that? Town foreman? Okay, operation.
Anything else for Councilor Forum?
Number meetings.
Thomas?
Nope.
I would just like to make one comment with regards to the late Archie Lang. He's a huge part of the Yukon and Watson Lake. Personally and professionally, he's a great loss to the Yukon, so I just want to, from the town of Watson Lake, acknowledge the passing of Archie Lang and his our condolences to the family.
Here, here.
Yes.
Okay. Anything else? Adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor. Carried. Thank you, everybody.
I'll send you that.
Have a good night.
Thanks, sir.
Sorry, I said that just-
Can you just sign these minutes?